Yes. Okay. Jai Jago, Jai Jago, Gaura Chandra Bole, Jago, Jai Jago, Gaura Chandra Bole, Jai Jago, Gaura Chandra Bole Gaura Chandra Bole Kota Nidra Jayo Maya Isasira Ole Kota Nidra Isasira Kota Nidra Jayo Maya Isasira Ole Kota Nidra Jayo Maya Isasira Ole Bhajigo Kaliya Ese Samsara Bitare Bhajigo Kaliya Ese Samsara Bitare Bhajigo Kaliya Ese Samsara Bitare Samsara Vitare Oliaro Hidare Tumi Adijara Bore Oliaro Hidare Tumi Adijara Bore Boliyaro hidayat mein madhyara pare. Boliyaro hidayat mein madhyara pare. Kamare agile tum I know Avasara Tomare Dorite Ami I know Avasara Ami I know Avasara Tomare Dorite Ami Anivina Santo Ara Yacheto Mara Anivina Santo Ara Yacheto Mara Anivina Santo Ara Yacheto Mara Anivina Santo Ara Yacheto Eniki Kosodi Maya Nasibaro Nadi Maya Nate Barolage Saji Maya Nate Barolage Maya Nate Barolage Hari Nama Maha Mantra Hari Nama Mahamantra Hare Nama Mahamantra Hare Nama Mahamantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhu, Sarane Pariya. Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu, Sarane Pariya. Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu. Sarane Pariya, Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu, Sarane Pariya, Hare Hari Nama Mantra, Jai Rama Jaya, Hare Hari Nama Mantra, Jai Rama Jaya. Hare Nama Mantra, Jai Rama Jaya. Hare Nama Mantra, Jai Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन प्रजोदन रंजन यशोदानंदन प्रजोदन रंजन जमुना तेरा बनचारी जमुना तेरा बनचारी जमुना तेरा बनचारी जमुना तेरा बनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी 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 जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजगणनंदन यशोदानंदन यशोदानंदन यमुना तेरा बनचारी यमुना तेरा बनचारी माधवा कुंज बिहारी माधवा कुंज बिहारी माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, 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 Jai Mr. Paramahamsa, Sri Vrajagacharya Stotra Sector, Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Shirabai Sharanagara Bhaktivedanta Swami, Sri Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, ISKCON DVT, Founder Acharyas Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki, Samavata Bhakta Vrinda Ki, Harinam Sankirtan Ki, Grantaraj Madhara Ki, Jantai Gaura Kimanande, all that is to be assembled devotees, all that is to be assembled devotees, all that is to be assembled devotees, all that is to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all that is to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Taksurandaritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamanam Sri Gurum Vaishnavam Sya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Swam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakharvitam Hai Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutidevi Pranamami Hari Vanchakalpadrujasya Kripa Sindhu Yaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Dharam Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayesha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktira Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, whose praise with transcendental songs becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Pranam Brahma Samitam
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
Sloka Charitam
Dhammasloka Charitam
Chakara Bhagavan Rishi
Chakara Bhagavan Rishi
Nishreya Sayalokasya
Nishreya
Dhanyam Swasyayanam Maha.
Dhanyam Shraddhayanam Namaha.
The Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantara, as the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Shri Krishna Chaitanya,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda,
Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar,
Advaita Gadadhar
Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Suradhyay Namaha.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Om Suradhyay Namaha.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Om Suradhyay Namaha.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Mukam karoti vasaram tvangum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bande Shri Gurum Dinataram. Yatkripa tamaham bande Shri Gurum Dinataram. Hare Krishna. Welcome to Bhagavatam class. We continue from second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 1, entitled The First Step in God Realization. Yesterday, actually, we covered 2 texts, so therefore today we're doing 34. Of course, 34 doesn't have a purport. Still, we will read 34, and then we will 35 also doesn't have a purport, so we will read up to 36 today. Yeah. So text 34. Ishasya Keshan Vidur Ambuvahan Vasas Tu Sandhyam Kuru Varya Bhumnaha Avyaktam Ahur Hidayam Manas Sa Chandramaha Sarva Vikara Oshaha. Ishasya Keshan Vidur Ambuvahan Vasastu Sandhyam Kuru Varya Bhumnaha Avyaktamahur Hridayam Manascha Sachandrama Salva Vikara Koshaha Eshasya Kesham Vidur Ambuvahan Vasastu Sandhyam Kuru Varya Bhumnaha Avyaktamahur hridayam manascha.
Avyaktamahur hridayam manascha.
Sachandrama sarva vikara koshaha.
Sachandrama sarva vikara koshaha.
Keshasya kesham vidur amma bhuvahan.
Isasya kesan viduram bhuvahan.
Vasastu sandhyam kudu varya bhumnaha.
Vasastu sandhyam kurvarya bhumnaha.
Avyaktamahur hridayam manascha.
Avyaktamahur hridayam manascha.
Sachandrama sarva vikara koshaha.
Sachandrama sarva vikara koshaha. Isasya keshan vidur ambuvahan.
Keshasya kesham vidur ambuvahan.
Vasastu sandhyam kuruvarya bhumnaha.
Vasastu sandhyam kudu varya bhumnaha.
Avyaktamahur hridayam manascha.
Avyaktamahur hridayam manascha.
Sachandrama sarva vikara kosha.
Sachandrama sarva vikara koshaha.
Ishasya keshan viduram bhuvahan. Ishasya keshan viduram bhuvahan. Vasastu sandhyam kurvarya bhumnaha. Vasastu sandhyam kurvarya bhumnaha. Avyaktamahur hridayam manascha. Avyaktamahur hridayam manascha. Sandhyama sarva vikara koshaha. Sachandrama sarva vikara koshaha. Ishasya keshan vidhur ambuvahan. Ishasya keshan vidhur ambuvahan. Vasastu sandhyam kurvarya bhumna. Vasastu sandhyam kurvarya bhumna. Avyaktamahur hridayam manascha. Avyaktamahur hridayam manascha. Sachandrama sarva vikara kosha.
Sachandrama sarva vikara koshaha. Ishasya of the Supreme Controller.
Of the Supreme Controller.
Keshan hairs on the head.
Hairs on the head.
Viduhu you may know it.
You may know it
from me.
From me.
Ambuvahan the clouds which carry water.
The clouds which carry water.
Vasahatu the dress.
The dress.
Sandhyam termination of day and night.
Termination of day and night.
Kuruvarya O best of the Kurus.
O best of Kurus.
Bhumnaha of the Almighty.
Of the Almighty.
Avyaktam the prime cause of material creation. Ahuhu it is said. Hridayam intelligence. Manahacha and the mind. Saha he. Chandramaha the moon. Sarva vikara koshaha the reservoir of all changes. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. O best among the Kurus, the clouds which carry water are the hairs on his head. The termination of days or nights are his dress. And the supreme cause of material creation is his intelligence. His mind is the moon, the reservoir of all changes. Text 35. Vijnana Shaktim Mahim Atmananti. Sarvatmanonta Karanam Giritram. Ashvashvatayushtra Gajanakani
Asvasvatarya Ustra Gajanakani
Sarve Mriga Pasava Shroni Deshe.
Sarve Mrigapasavastro Nidese.
Translation: the principle of matter, Mahatattva, is the consciousness of the omnipresent Lord, as asserted by the experts, and Rudradeva is his ego. The horse, mule, camel, and elephant are his nails. Wow. And wild animals and all quadrupeds are situated in the belt zone of the Lord. Text 36, which has a purport. Vayamsi tad vyakaram vi Vayamsi tad vyakaranam vichitram
Vayam Sita Vyakaranam Vichitram
Manur Manisha Manujo Nivasaha
Manor Manisa Manuja Nivasaha
Gandharva Vidyadhara Charanapsara
Gandharva Vidyadhara Apsara
Svara Smritir Asura Nikaviryaha.
Shara Smritara Sura Nikaviryaha.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Varieties of birds are indications of his masterful artistic sense. Manu, the father of mankind, is the emblem of his standard intelligence, and humanity is his residence. The celestial species of human beings, like the Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, Charanas, and angels, all represent his musical rhythm, and the demoniac soldiers are representations of his wonderful prowess. Angels. Not only the Christians have angels, but we also have our angels. So purport. The aesthetic sense of the Lord is manifested in the artistic, colorful creation of varieties of birds like the peacock, parrot, and cuckoo. Cuckoo, cuckoo. I think they're hearing this purport this morning. They're talking about us. The celestial species of human beings, like the Gandharvas and Vidyadharas, can sing wonderfully. Whoa. 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 And can entice even the minds of the heavenly demigods. Their musical rhythm represents the musical sense of the Lord. How then can he be impersonal? His musical taste, artistic sense, and standard intelligence, which is never fallible, are different signs of his supreme personality. The Manu Samhita is the standard law book for humanity, and every human being is advised to follow this great book of social knowledge. Human society is the residential quarters for the Lord. This means that the human being is meant for God realization and association with God. This life is a chance for the conditioned soul to regain his eternal God consciousness and thus fulfill the mission of life. Maharaj Prahlad is the right type of representative of the Lord in the family of Asuras. None of the living beings is away from the Lord's gigantic body. Each and every one has a particular duty in relation to the Supreme Body. Disruption in the matter of discharging the specific duty assigned to each and every living being is the cause of disharmony between one living being and another. But when the relation is reestablished in relation with the Supreme Lord, there is complete unity between all living beings, even up to the limit of the wild animals and human society. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed this living unity in the jungle of Madhya Pradesh, where even the tigers, elephants, and many other ferocious animals perfectly cooperated in glorifying the Supreme Lord. That is the way to peace and amity all over the world. Jai. Translation of our last text, 36. Varieties of birds are indication of his masterful artistic sense. Manu, the father of mankind, is the emblem of his standard intelligence, and humanity is his residence. The celestial species of human beings, like the Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, Charanas, and angels, all represent his musical rhythm, and the demoniac soldiers are representations of his wonderful prowess. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is nicely pointing out how there are so many displays of the Lord's variety of features, especially in the matter of music, for example, sound. Everyone likes to hear beautiful sound vibrations. Actually, you might have seen some videos when someone plays very sweet music, maybe the violin or harmonium, and if there are some cows not too far, they will come, and their ears will be like this, isn't it? That's why in Vrindavan, Krishna is always playing his flute, and he's not the only one. The cowherd, some of the cowherd boys also, they play the flute. One day we have to have at least one devotee playing the flute here, because the flute, of all the musical instruments, the flute is very, very soothing to the heart, very pleasing. Helps actually music. There's called music therapy. Music therapy. They have made experiment actually that if a pregnant mother, if a mother who will have a child is hearing rock and roll music, then the child will actually be more like passionate. uh, but if a child is hearing like classical music, very uh, music more like in the mode of goodness, uh, then the child will tend to be more like in the mode of goodness, isn't it? Um, so just like when we speak with one another, Vedic culture actually teaches one to to uh, to speak nicely. Um, we 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 appreciate someone who speaks nicely, who's not like shouting. Sometimes we see even sometimes devotees, they unconsciously, I suppose, but they are not cautious in how they speak to other people. So sound vibration um, is when especially in the context of, let's say, music. That's why Prabhupada is making reference here. The verse also, Gandharvas. Uh, Narada Muni, it's explaining the Bhagavatam before becoming the son of Brahma, before becoming the son of a maidservant, he was a Gandharva. That's why he carries his vina wherever he goes, and he is always chanting the glories of the Lord, isn't it? Uh, we see in the Vedic culture how in the morning, like at this time, in some of the old temples in South India, I'm sure in other places also, the Brahmanas, they will be chanting mantras, isn't it? Chanting of mantra is very soothing to the heart, is very, in many ways, very therapeutic. They chant melodiously, very melodiously. Yeah, very melodiously. I mean, it's this is uh, this is art. Music is a science, is an art, uh, and and that is all actually coming from Krishna, naturally, isn't it? Krishna, it is described in Vrindavan when Krishna plays his flute, uh, everything stops. All the cows, their two ears are just like fully absorbed in hearing. And it is also described that even the Yamuna, the river Jamuna, she stops to flow because the Yamuna is, everything in Vrindavan is conscious. And not only the trees and plants, but the stone, the river, water, everything is conscious. And so when Krishna plays his transcendental flute, and Krishna has different types of flutes. Some very long flute, some medium flute, some short flute. Our Krishna has only one flute here. We have to get a few more flutes for Krishna. And different flutes play different sound and have different, yeah. Names are there. Yes, actually, Vedic music is very, very compared to Western music. There's no comparison, actually. Vedic music is very, very profound, very, very sophisticated. Uh, just like, for that matter, Vedic language means Sanskrit. Sanskrit is the most advanced language. It is the language of the demigods, Devanagari. Devanagari, the demigods, they speak Sanskrit. Mm. It is considered actually the perfect language. And Sanskrit, when when properly learned, when properly spoken, is also very melodious. And the Sanskrit language that has actually also therapeutic uh, effect. It is very healthy for the body. It is healthy for the mind also. So there's mention here of the intelligence of the actually everything that is taking place in the material world is, we call, it's one of the modern theories called creation by intelligence. Intelligent design by design means that there are subtle laws governing this material creation, and the origin of all of that, of course, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So that means that actually devotees who have this information that we are getting from the Srimad Bhagavatam, um, we know that all attractive things in the material world, all beauty, all sound vibration is ultimately the origin of that is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So therefore, we we can remember Krishna through his beautiful material creation. Um, these verses are giving very detailed information about so many aspects of the material creation, and it's all in relation uh, to Krishna. A nice point that Prabhupada is mentioning here, actually, as I was reading this, um, disruption in the matter of discharging the specific duty assigned to each and every living being is the cause of disharmony between one living being and another. But when the relation is reestablished in relation with the Supreme Lord, there is complete unity between all living beings, even up to the limit of the wild animals and human society. Of course, Prabhupada gives the example of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu walking in the forest of Jarikanda. So here it mentions actually Madhya Pradesh. Again, Jarikanda goes is also in Jharkhand. Jharkhand probably goes through Madhya Pradesh. It was the path going to Vrindavan. Yeah, that Lord Chaitanya and others would take. So this is a very important point. When we know what our prescribed duties are, this point is being made here, that every living entity actually has some what is called prescribed duties. Bhagavad Gita speaks, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita speaks about the importance of knowing and working based on what are prescribed duties. For example, the prescribed duties, you know what is the prescribed duties for the majority of people in the world? Be careful.
Nowadays,
What is the prescribed duty besides practicing bhakti or devotional service? What is meant to be according to Shastra? What is meant to be, what is supposed to be the prescribed duty for the majority of people in human society, according to, naturally, according to Shastra. Okay? So what's the answer? Hey, prescribed duty. What is meant to be? What is meant to be the Prescribed duty means activity, work,
One has to
job, profession.
Worship the
That's a spiritual activity. Worship, everyone should be worshiping. And we should be worshiping actually the Lord through our prescribed duty, especially. When we know what our prescribed duties are, and that is based actually according to Varna and Ashrama. Yeah. So my question, what is the prescribed duty for the majority of people in human society? It is nicely explained in the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The prescribed duty is to be connected with mother cow and mother nature, land, cows and land. The prescribed duties for the majority of householders in the world, in human society, this is standard. It's not that was something in the past and now we have become modern and we don't need that. The prescribed duties are standard. They are universal and they are not meant to change also. Because Krishna, Father knows best. Krishna is our eternal Father, and He has created this material world in a particular manner, in a particular way. When we agree to take up our prescribed duty, which is directly connected with what Prabhupada is mentioning here. Disruption in the matter of discharging the specific duty assigned to each and every living being. When we don't know what our prescribed duties are, and largely they are within an agrarian context. Agrarian context means in terms of the land and cows. This is what Krishna demonstrated in Vrindavan. And we have different activities, different duties. When we know and take up these activities, then there will be harmony. And because today the vast majority of people don't know what their prescribed duties are and are not taking up those prescribed duties. And when I say the majority of people, I also mean the majority of devotees. The majority of our devotees don't know what the prescribed duties are. As per Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So therefore there is disharmony. Therefore there is disruption and clash, etc. like that. Okay. They're coming for their prescribed duty. They're coming a little early. And the person looking after them should be here soon also. So very nice purport by Srila Prabhupada, elaborating on this point here. Prabhupada making reference also to Manu Samhita, which is today controversial. But it needs to be, actually what happened is that some of our Vedic texts have been manipulated, have been changed purposely. This is well known, and therefore one has to be very cautious in prematurely arriving at such conclusions that this particular work, which is part of the Vedas, is not bona fide or not authorized. In many places, Srila Prabhupada refers to the Manu Samhita. Well, just like here, the Manu Samhita is a standard law book for humanity. Um, and every human being is advised to follow this great book of social knowledge. Social knowledge. We don't live alone. We live within a society, isn't it? We live within a community. And there are standard guidelines which are given actually in the Shastra how to live within a family. What is the ideal family? Seventh canto again of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 14. Chapter 14 is entitled Ideal Family Life. So the guidelines for ideal family life were given. Ideal social arrangement, which means Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and their respective activities are all detailed actually in the Vedic literatures, especially in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we follow these guidelines that are prescribed in the Shastra, then there will be harmony. And obviously, we have the critical situation globally, so much of disruption and disharmony because we're not following, we're not knowing, we're not accepting. So in the essay Gita Nagari, Prabhupada at one point mentions the following, that there will be harmony within society when we understand the fatherhood of God, that God is our Father, the fatherhood of God, the motherhood of nature. We're all, just like a child is dependent on the mother, we're also dependent on Mother Nature. The fatherhood of Krishna, the motherhood of nature, and the childhood of all living entities. Very nicely explained by Srila Prabhupada. The childhood of all living entities. We are all children of God. We are all dependent, just like in a family. Children are dependent on the father and the mother. So when that mentality, when that understanding is there, then naturally there's a happy situation. There is harmony within the family. When we reject our father, when we reject our mother, then there's disruption, there cannot be harmony. That is the cause of so much of disunity, disharmony in modern society today, because this knowledge, these principles are unknown or are not being followed. So, Mode of Passion is about to start. The early morning up until 7 o'clock is Mode of Goodness. The workers have come, they're ready to start, and their boss just came in also. So it's time for us to close the morning program. And yeah. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sri Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna.
Bhakti Raja Swami Maharaj.